Hi. Oh my gosh, we're here, folks. Sorry, we're a little bit late. Sonder was doing his hair, and Logan was helping me understand the historics of the dinosaur in the crustacean era, perhaps. But
Yeah,
we're
there we
here.
go.
We are 27 strong. Let's go. So this is going to be pretty much a fluid conversation. We want to make sure that you guys have. There he is. My man Richard, let's go. Where's the? Oh, this is the jersey. So this is our first out-of-home purchase that we've done. We sponsored a hockey team, so you can see sick little Triple L jersey here. But Richard is actually doing. They do incredible acrylic stuff. He does all my boxes here for my shoes, and we're getting the jersey framed here for the Austin. Hey, what's up, Bruno?
That's
For the
awesome.
Austin office. But Sonder, you were just recently out in Egypt, huh? How was your trip?
Amazing. Best
Amazing.
trip of my life.
Amazing. And then Old Miss, what happened? The Baby Blues. I was in. I was bought in. I thought. I texted you the game. I brought good vibes, and you let me down like that. What happened? What's going on over there?
Well, listen, as an Ole Miss fan, traditionally, that's about as much as we could ask for. So we did pretty good. I mean, listen, if we have the ball in the red zone for a chance to win, like I can't ask for much more than that. Now
Who's gonna
it's pretty standard Ole Miss that we didn't win though. So
Who's gonna take the SEC?
I would say 90% sure it's gonna be Georgia, but listen, LSU could make something happen.
Oh, really? Between the hedges,
Georgia. It's going to be
it's gonna be
Georgia.
Georgia.
I
Between the
mean, it's
hedges.
in Atlanta, but LSU travels well. LSU could have a day, you know. Missouri almost beat Georgia, so there's a chance.
Whatever, not to get too far down the sporty ball hole, but didn't what was his name? Erdogan? I forget what his name was, but he had a pretty big fall from grace, right? Over at LSU. The head
Who are you
coach.
talking about?
The head coach at LSU.
You just
Didn't
barely
he
got
didn't
there.
You're talking about
no
Coach
the
Ogeron.
Ogeron, yeah, the old guy or the previous coach. He used to be like the Bayou kind of god, and now everybody's kind of a pariah now, right?
Listen, he got his money. He was only really there
Yeah,
for
okay.
an interim period, and then
Okay.
he won the championship with a pretty sweet team. And
All right.
um, yeah,
Okay. All right. Maybe I'm being too hard on Logan. Logan always the voice of reason.
I think
He
he's.
he
I think
he
he.
blunts my
Sneaked out, I think
corners.
he snuck out of there with $20+ million, and he lives in the bayou of Louisiana. I think he's living a
Doing
good
all
life.
right.
As
He's
much
doing all
crawfish
right.
as he wants,
That's
you know.
I was gonna say that's a lot of crawfish. There's a lot of
Yeah.
crawfish and amazing. All right, folks. What do you guys want to hear about today? So this time is yours. We can jam about how you can understand your Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We can talk about how you should plan your year. Should you be going heavy on acquisition? Should you be going heavy on retention? Just pop any questions into either the question box or the chat. One of my favorite things to do, and we've talked about this a little bit previously, but one of the challenges with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think, is you can acquire people that aren't necessarily high LTV customers, and it's a pretty expensive time to acquire people. And so, one really easy way to do that, or to understand the type of customers you're acquiring, is using our cohorts tool. So you can just jump into the cohorts and then do either, depending on how long your store has been around, but you can do a 2 or 3 year look back and understand people that you acquired during November, or you can even ratchet down to the week of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and understand how much it costs to acquire those people during that month, and then how much they actually materialize in terms of LTV. So that's one of my favorite little Black Friday, Cyber Monday tips. What else we got? We talked about discounting. The other thing that you can do, and Logan is a pixel savant, but one of the things that we offer you all with the Pixel that Facebook does not is actually new customer CPA and new customer revenue. So you can actually understand if you're bringing in incrementality to your ecosystem, because at the end of the day, retargeting people in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, while there might be a place for it, I would not heavily recommend that. I would definitely try and do SMS or email campaigns. And so using your Pixel, you can really understand how the people that you're bringing in, are they actually customers already or not new customers? Because at the end of the day, we really want to use our paid media on activating new customers versus old people that are already in the funnel.
Yeah. I mean, I think, sorry, just to tap into that,
Yeah, go for it.
because I met with a customer yesterday on this, because they're starting their promotion this Friday, right? So they're going to go after existing customers. So two things to note. One, I would expect that your Facebook ROAS will look really, really, really amazing very soon
Yep.
from Facebook, because likely there's going to be inflation of view through attribution. So just pay attention to that. Know it's there. I would utilize, this is like really kind of the bread and butter of Triple Whale. I would utilize the 1 day click. One thing we can note to everybody is that we now have attribution windows available in the Pixel. So click the cog in the right-hand corner of your Pixel page, and then in the drop down, there's attribution windows. Pay attention to that 1 day click attribution and then compare that to 7 day as well. But like when you start running your ads towards Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, just really pay attention to what Triple Whale is saying versus Facebook. And then one of the really big key elements that Triple Whale is going to bring into your analysis this year is that Facebook isn't going to tell you whether or not the orders they're attributing came from new or existing customers. So pay attention to that in Triple Whale as well, because you don't want to waste a bunch of spend basically on retention or existing customers. I would try to use all of your SMS, email marketing to do that, and use paid to drive like an acquisition cost that's going to make sense for your business.
Yeah, I love it. And Jeremy Roberts, First Blood. So let's jump in here. A great movie, by the way. I'm old, so people probably don't know, but this is probably the best Rambo movie ever. When he opens his eyes in the mud pit, he's the best. It's First Blood. Anyways, go watch it if you haven't. Fantastic Thanksgiving flick. Okay, cool. So from the cohort webinar, I found out that my 6-month LTV customers are the worst of the year. 6-month LTV. I don't know what that means. Along with months where I have big warehouse sales to clear inventory and get cash back in the bank. How does a company balance acquiring high LTV customers versus selling via big discounts to move inventory and get cash back in the bank? I don't understand what you mean by 6-month LTV customers. Maybe pop in the chat what you mean by that, but I can tell you that when everything should be based around a goal, right? Like what is the goal? And so high LTV customers versus cash flow are two totally antithetical goals, where one is totally, and neither of them are right or wrong. This is exactly what you want for your business. Like your business should be ran off of what the goal is of that acquisition strategy, but there's absolutely nothing wrong. And I think that's why Black Friday, Cyber Monday can be fine if you understand that it's a cash grab and you're just trying to get as much money as possible in through the doors and you're just trying to buy or sell inventory. 0% wrong with that. But having that, you can't kind of I forget the term. I think speak out of both sides of your mouth. Like saying you're optimizing for high LTV customers, but you're also wanting to have big discounts to move inventory. It's antithetical. So, Jeremy, my recommendation, and then we'll hear from the other two gents on here, is that you just need to have one of those goals in mind. By definition, you want to optimize for one thing, because if you start optimizing for two things, there's a Russian proverb: the hunter that chases 2 rabbits gets none. And so the thing here would be, yeah, that's good, right? I saw a little smirk from my Sonder. Yeah, it's good.
You said it was a Russian proverb? Is that what you said?
I'm pretty sure it's a Russian proverb. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Where it's the hunter that chases 2 rabbits catches none. And so, right, the 2 rabbits would be high LTV and then actually moving inventory to get cash flow. Again, nothing wrong with that, but understand that that's what you're trying to do, and understand that the inventory that you're going to move and the big discounts are going to attract a certain sect of people, and the high LTV customers are going to be another sect that you really want to target, and the offers are really going to be bespoke to either or. I didn't understand. Did he message me?
He put it in the chat, the cumulative LTV at the 6-month mark. My only thought there is just make sure you're expanding your cohort analysis a bit wider than like just the year, so you can get more customers who have had a chance to have 6 months to order. So if you're looking at the average, yes, just make sure you've expanded it enough to have enough different cohorts in that time period who've had at least 6 months to order.
Yeah, and so my 6-month LTV customers are the worst of the year. So yeah, so what Logan's saying is the people in the months, like for example, like if you looked at cohort analysis now, September is probably not going to look great, or October, because they haven't had the same amount of time to mature as somebody that's 6, 8, 10 months away. And so usually you'll want to look at that average down at the bottom, and then you can see in terms of that 6-month LTV But what are your guys' take on high LTV versus selling big discounts to move inventory?
Logan,
Well-
you need to answer with the Chinese proverb this time.
Hey, I'm so uneducated. I don't have any proverbs. I couldn't name one for you, but I probably need to do that. I need to learn my proverbs so I can hang with you dudes. All right, but here's one thing to do though. Sorry, this is going to be a cool idea. Don't know how hard it is to technically implement. I'm pretty sure you can do it with Shopify Flows, but you can do an order tag or a customer tag based on the collection they order from.
Mhm.
So let's say that you are dumping a bunch of product because you want to get cash in the bank. I would suggest moving all those products into a collection so they can live on other collections as well and product, whatever pages you want, but move them all into either a hidden collection or public collection. Let's call it final sale. Then make sure that anyone who orders those products gets a tag, right? Then on the cohort table, you can exclude anyone who's ordered with that tag or the customer tag or the order tag from the table. So you can review customers who are really just focused on trying to get a discounted product versus the customers who versus customers who are not, right? So the customers who maybe you didn't promote that to existing high LTV customers, or maybe you didn't put that into your prospecting campaign, something like that. Just you can exclude it and kind of compare the data that way. And then, yeah, I'm a little torn on whether or not you should promote that to existing customers or not. I think on one hand, if you're trying to get rid of something and you need cash in the bank, your best bet might be just your existing customers who may be appreciative of that. But I think Robbo would push against doing some sort of large discount to your current customer base because they're probably the most loyal, right?
Yeah, and again, there's definitely, like you do what you got to do, like a 20 is a 20 kind of thing. So you do what
Yeah.
you got to do when you need to do it. So ideally, though, I do think that there's some other ways to move that product other than fire sales. But again, if you need the cash flow, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, here's a bunch of awesome product that we're going to discount pretty heavily. Here's what you can do. My only, I guess, outside looking in kind of, stroking the beard type of sensei stuff would be that's usually the necessity for that is usually a symptom of something greater, whether you didn't understand you planned your year poorly, there were some things that didn't shake out how you needed to, and so fire selling that inventory is usually not on the hit list for most people, and so it's usually a function of something else. And so definitely get the money. One of the best things you can do is just survive, and so that's like number one thing, always make sure the business can survive. Business can't survive without cash. So 100% down with that. But I would say once you get that cash in, can you go look at your year and understand, hey, here's my peaks and valleys for my year. And I hate the word seasonality because you can hide in that, but there's definitely going to be a cadence of acquisition throughout the year, and understand, hey, these are going to be valleys for me. How can I raise the floor of that valley? And whether that be launching a new product, whether that be flavors, whether that be, again, your big discount where you have a summer fire sale or something like that. But getting forced into it can be a challenge. So that would be just kind of my only little tidbit there. Again, there's nothing right or wrong. It's just understanding how you can support your business and generate the most margins off of your inventory. And discounts are just going to be a challenge to really keep healthy margins, because you're essentially lowering your price points.
Yep. Keep cash in the bank though. So if you got to get rid of it, get rid of it. Invest in the stuff that's going to bring you the most margin later.
Richard,
we got Richard. That was a great question. We got Jeremy in here too.
Yeah, J Money. Those are fantastic questions, by the way, Jeremy. Really appreciate that. Definitely pop more in. And if we didn't answer your question, either yell at us in the chat or we can sync offline. Sonder does some really cool Get Nerdy sessions that we'd happy to have you on. Okay.
Rob, one thing I want to add to that question real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's hard to intentionally focus on driving like high LTV customers, at least through pay channels.
Interesting.
Well, you kind of just get what you get, right? And you're kind of dependent on Facebook's algorithm. I think you can I think depending on the products you're showing and your
The
creative, I
offer.
think you can influence that a little bit more. So I'm not saying, don't, there's still some impact there, but I think some areas, and it's probably too late now, but I think focusing on like partners, so maybe other e-commerce businesses that have a higher customer, so maybe a higher AOV, and working on like giveaways and things like that during the month of November, I think are great ways to just cross promote. And so that might be something I'd be focusing on, and it doesn't have to be just during Black Friday. But I think those are great ways where you can intentionally work with other brands, leverage their customers and vice versa to try to bring in customers that potentially could have a higher LTV.
I could dig that. I would definitely push back that I think you can definitely do things to try and attract and build a gravity well for high LTV customers. Because there's certain that's why I love our product journeys. Like nobody uses our product journeys because they're really challenging to understand with the Sankey diagrams. But that's why I like the product journeys, because you can understand that all things being equal, when you acquire people, what are the best doors to walk through to generate the most LTV? Because there's people that have amazing brand products, but they might be promoting a second or third tier product per se for the brand, and that's what you buy. And it's a horrible experience, and you'll never buy anything else from that brand. Versus if you walk through the flagship door, where this flagship product's incredible, the packaging is incredible, the job to be done that the product does is incredible, and then people purchase that product 2 or 3 times again. And you can see that in our product journeys and how people actually like their customer preferences. So I take your point that you can't like target, high LTV customers in Facebook, but I think there's proxies that you can do to lay the breadcrumbs to only attract the bigger clients. Versus if you're heavily discounting, you're going to get the Grouponers, you're going to get the tire kickers, you're going to get people that care about price. Where 9 times out of 10, Logan actually just dropped a really good video on some internal Triple Whale stuff, but he had a really good line there where it's like, when somebody says it's cost too much, it's not. It's very, very rarely a resource issue. It's they don't understand how their value, they don't understand the value they're getting, and they're doing a calculation in their head that I'm not getting enough value for my money, so I'm going to say it's price, versus I'm going to say, oh, this feature doesn't work, or this is the thing that doesn't make me a bunch of money and I want it to. And so anyways, kind of ranting here a little bit, but very rarely are people not buying your product because of price. There is definitely, cases of that where you're just, but again, it's very rare, and it's more so you're not conveying the value that your product generates, and therefore people are saying, oh, it's too expensive. Well, no, it's not too expensive. It's just that you don't value it, and so therefore you're going to say, I'm not going to pay for it. So anyways, kind of a little meta rant there, but I do believe that price is very rarely ever the actual objection. There's some sort of value delineation that's not being really explained well.
I agree.
I'll see. I brought you around. Look at you. Just have to.
I caveated it with product. I said that.
It's okay.
There's truth. There's truth.
Hair.
I'll be the third party here. There's truths to both sides
guy.
of this coin.
This guy, get the fuck out of here.
I mean, listen. If you bring them in through Facebook with the best product, they can still navigate to the worst. I'm just saying. Fire sale the bad products. Get them out of there.
Oh yeah, have no problem with fire sale. Again, always start with the goal in mind, and like making sure that you are walking down the path that the goal is going to support. Okay, amazing.
We got to keep these things spicy. You know what I mean? If we don't have this engagement, people are going to get bored. And
the producers in my ear right now. Turn up the heat.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
I will. I do have a thought there. I want to keep it going.
Bring it on.
It actually isn't counterproductive, but it's something that I bring up a lot when I am working with our customers. When you look at the bundle section within Insights, you can see the most frequent bundles that customers are buying. And oftentimes, brands aren't actually creating those bundles as products that people can purchase. So I think that's a great way to actually drive up that AOV and LTV. By grouping those most frequently bought together. I mean, you see it a lot on Amazon, right? Yep. When you're buying on Amazon, you can do that. So that's like one big win I think you can focus on during Black Friday. especially with discounts, I think most people will feel like they're getting even more value and piggybacking on a discount. And the more products they use of yours, hopefully that leads to more LTV down the road. So I think that's another good little trick that you can leverage within Triple L that translates well to achieving that goal.
Wait, Rob, can we get tactical for a second? Because I love when there's like it's something people can really take away. I love that, by the way, Sonder. Here's one thing that I struggled with, and you're probably a
with
more
that plaid. I'd love to get tactical.
What's that?
Still my heart. You're looking good.
Thanks. I think I wore the same shirt yesterday. Work from home problems. But I do love the fit. So, Sonder, I love that strategy. It's something that I did at my previous job. But one thing I struggled with, I actually had like a head of operations that was able to do this, execute it for me. How would you suggest our customers do the bundling tactically in Shopify, given the constraints around like your 3PL? Because like you can't have them combine right away because we're too fast for that. Would you say that the customer, you lead them through a path that allows them to do like a cart upsell, but it's really just like add these two products together and get a combined discount? Or would you suggest they truly create a new SKU in Shopify that's just those two products together and then tell their 3PL to pack them together?
I would probably do the latter, but I think it just depends on the customization that your 3PL will allow you to do. Some might not let you do that. So that's where you might have to get a little trickier with like your code and how it's displayed and then how it's packaged on the back end.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I will say one thing that just came to mind that I did for one of them was if you have Shogun or something similar, I actually created like a landing page that was all about the promo of the bundles. And so I broke the page up to say like, this is bundle one. And I know it's kind of clunky, but I just said like, add both these products to your cart, discount code will automatically be applied or whatever. So that may be one workaround if someone has Shogun or has the ability to put the two products on one single page side by side.
Yeah, if you did, I mean, you could technically do that through a collection as well. Is that what you're saying? So you would have a landing page that would then take them to a collection to then add both of those products side by side?
Well, Shogun I'm sure there's other tools, but Shogun allows you to build, you can actually embed those products on the same page. So you can explain the promotion you're running, how the bundle works, what the customer should do. Whereas some of the native collection pages limit you to like a headline and small description text.
Yeah.
So I was only suggesting you could do it all in Shogun so that the entire journey of landing on the page, here's what you do, and then clicking add to cart is all kind of succinct in one spot. Because Shogun allows you to create an add to cart button directly under the product embed too, which I liked. But I know some people have quarrels with Shogun, so whatever.
No, those are all great ideas, and they're also, to your point, Sonder, there's some cool things you can do with like upsells as well, where like you're getting in a cart, and then you can say if you buy X product, make sure you show them Y and Z product with the upsell to kind of boost that AOV, because you're absolutely right there. But you're also right in the sense of you really need to understand, like, what else chews up margin, pick and pack and shipping. And so like there's certain cases. So we had, when I was working with this beard guy, he would have bundles, and the bundles were fantastic. But the problem was if we had like a bundle builder. And so you could get all these bundles. If you buy it over X product, you get Y off. You buy over Z. It was fantastic, and the economics looked great. But then when you looked at the pick and pack, because they had to do all these things versus just putting the prepackaged bundles in there, it started to not be as awesome, because again, like all these things start to eat into your margin, right? Like, so you have your COGS, but then you have your shipping, then you have your pick and pack, then you have these things that like all start to eat it up. But anyways, I'm kind of in the weeds now. It's very, very high level advice that Logan and Sonder are bringing. That's real heat. I love it. Awesome, Jeremy. I'm really glad that we super helpful and informative. I'm going to put that as my pinned tweet. Okay. Did we do Richard's question yet or no?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Cool. Let's do this. All right. Shout out. Look, see, let's go. Let's get you out for the whaleys, brother. Okay. Teed up question, actually. I really love the post-purchase question. Do you have any plans to allow brands to customize the none of the above into a field customers could actually type into? Interesting. We utilize conventions shows and would love to know if we are getting post-purchase. Oh yeah, yeah. So he does a lot of really. So he makes amazing sneaker boxes, amongst other things. They really are top tier. He has some really cool ones for Virgil, Cactus Jack, really really cool ones. And there's a big sneaker community at conventions, or there's
Yep.
conventions, and so he wants to know, is that going to be able to be tracked? Is there any movement on the post-purchase survey?
Yeah, well, I would say that it's probably not going to happen in 2022, potentially quarter one of next year. I have a pretty solid roadmap for version 2 of the post-purchase survey, that'll include some of those customizations that customers have been asking for, as well as like support for multi-languages.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say that if you're open to it, K&O is running a pretty solid discount right now, and
Yeah.
Fairing is also a partner of ours, and so those two platforms work really well with Triple Whale. So you can do all the same things. So if you're willing to upgrade to a K&O or Fairing, you can absolutely do what you're describing and even more. Right? They're pretty robust survey tools. So that would be my suggestion for now. If you need to get some data during the holiday period that goes above what we're offering with the free survey.
That's a brilliant. Richard, text me, and I'll get you hooked up with the No people. They're amazing humans over there, and we'll get you a screaming deal. Amazing. Well done, Logan. Well done. Okay. Yeah. So Jeremy, it looks like Sonder's already ahead of it, but yeah, we have tracking now with the generic UTM builder that you can build everything out of. I actually use it, ironically enough. For when we do newsletter sponsorships, things of that nature, where it's just really easy peasy. And then we also launched auto UTMs. For those of you that don't know, not only did we launch auto UTMs, so it'll auto inject to your Facebook and the Googs, or just Facebook, both of them,
Yeah,
right?
Google.
Facebook and Googs. Yep. Yeah. So we have auto injection for your UTMs there, and then we also launched, and this is kind of getting nerdy, but we have Saunders, so the Get Nerdy works, is we have new Triple Whale UTMs. So if you do, for whatever reason, like to have your Google Analytics or something else where you have the conventions where you have a schema that you prefer, where you want to see either the campaign name, et cetera, you can still adhere to those schemas and just add on our Triple Whale specific UTMs, and we'll be able to track all the goodness. So lots of really cool stuff there. All right. Joey Spino, let's go. All right. Where do product recommendations fall as a priority, specifically during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Q4 as a whole? Can you give me some color, or do you guys know what he means by product recommendations?
I'm not sure if he means like on page, like where, or
Like
if he
a
means like
gift
follow-up
guide,
retention
or
strategy, or yeah, my gut straight went to like retention and LTV, where you would recommend next products for existing customers. But I think I mentioned this in the last live stream we did, that I was using a tool called AlsoBot that did really good product recommendations based on what other visitors to the site were looking at, in addition to the one that your customer's looking at. It's called AlsoBot. I would look at that if that helps. But if we're talking about something totally different, let me know. Looks like he's typing, so we're going to get some information.
okay.
But
Oh my gosh, the suspense killing me.
yeah, I think, well, if we are talking about retention, which we'll find out shortly, see, yeah, LTV AOV tools. Yeah, I think we talked about this, and we had a pretty, I don't know if we uploaded it to YouTube yet, but we had a pretty solid discussion around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. And Joey,
the well webinar.
Yeah, it was
Let me
this.
I have a link. I'll get you a link. Sorry, keep going.
No, I think it would be beneficial for you if you have time. And we're talking about a week out, and you may be running stuff this weekend. I wouldn't get too app heavy before, like there could be bugs and things like that. I would make sure you test it. But listen, if you're up for it and you have the team to help execute on it, I think something like upsells in the cart can really help. Because what I did, well, we had success in last year's. We're an apparel company, and we had kind of like high AOV products, like even our shirts were $100 and our jackets were, upwards of 130 and stuff. So anyway, when customers were adding those to their cart, we had like a special recommendation that would basically upsell them on some of the smaller items: socks, underwear, wallets. And so I think during the gift buying season, if you can put that in front of people at the cart level, those upsells will just cruise. I really think they will, because people will just use stocking stuffers and buy something small on the way. And then, yeah, with product recommendations, I think anything you can do on the site to help people understand there's other things available that are like-minded, or for those individuals, I think it'll help. Go look at like what Huckberry does, because they have such a large catalog of things. Like once you're on, let's say like their new Coors collection, like the beer, if you're looking at the hat, it's going to show you the Coors sweaters, sweatshirts, whatever they have too. And like if you're looking at a workwear item, they're going to show you more workwear or shorts. So I think those things definitely help with making sure the customer doesn't leave without something in their cart.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant advice. I can't remember if it's still a thing, but there was also a Shopify app that you could use that would essentially use your browsing data to create like custom collection pages for you, which was really, really cool, especially if you have like a high SKU count. But I forget what the app was called. But it was essentially like kind of like what Amazon does, where it's showing you all the things that you have a high probability of buying. But yeah, I love that. And I think, don't really shy away from like gift guides and things of that nature. They're kind of cheesy, but at the end of the day, like it can be really helpful to understand, not only, even if you don't have a strong gifting vector, just highlighting really cool products that either work well together or are kind of really high margin, but not a lot of high velocity. Maybe give those away for free. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do during this high intent period to make sure that your economics stay intact and you're generating value for your customers.
Yeah, that's
probably one of. Oh, go ahead, Sander. Go ahead.
That's one thing my wife and I focused on with our boutique is every November, anything that we had just a crazy amount of inventory that just didn't sell well throughout the year. That was like our time to liquidate. And, and in some cases we would even take a loss on what we paid, but the balance of cash flow or the appeal of cash flow just outweighed taking a loss there. And so, yeah, we would even do like include it free in different discount tiers, or send an email after they purchase that they could still add to cart and get XYZ, 5 pieces of clothing for $20 or something, and most people would jump at that. Even if they didn't want it for themselves, they could use it as a gift or something, so that always worked really well.
Yeah. And there's a certain aspect, there's weirdos like me where that's why I can't shop at like Amazon or TJ Maxx or anything. I have this like absolutely addiction to great deals. Where it's like, there's no way I'm going to use this thing, but it's 70% off. It used to be, I literally bought a rabbit blanket that was like $1,000 blanket for like $250. I hate the thing. Like, what am I spending $250 on a throw blanket for? But it was originally priced at $1,000, which is like, who's going to spend that much money on a blanket? But I just have this like affliction. I can't not say no to a good deal. So there's a lot of things that you can bring people in where it's just like, I got to buy it because it's economically irresponsible not to buy this $250 blanket. I'm saving $750. Come on, people. But anyways, kind of what Sander is saying, and it ties back into that cash flow grab as well, where you can do some things that you can. There's a great line where you can turn things into an IQ test instead of a decision, where it's like you should definitely do this thing. Amazing. Okay, Ashley, let's see what you got. Oh, go ahead, Logan. Wrap it up.
Yeah, if you have the time, Joey, and anyone else listening, think about creating duplications of your Black Friday email. Like, let's say the first one or something very. Think about like when you make a splash for your existing customers in the email front or SMS. Think about segmenting them out into what products they've already purchased, and then serving them up your Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal email with products that are adjacent to the one they've already bought. Like the worst thing to do is, like, in my opinion, is show them a hero image of the product they've already bought and say it's like 60% off for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Because one, they'll probably be pissed that they bought it at full price. And two, it's not that helpful because they've already seen it and they have it. So I would think about that if there's categories or specific products that you can focus on and then show recommendations based on that.
Amazing. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the info. Powerful Joey Spino. Let's go. Okay, Ashley Handa holding it down for the ladies of ecom. Let's jump in here. Okay. Hi, guys. And by the way, you should be in our Narwhal Nation group if you're not. We just had we have a Ladies of Ecom channel in there. You can absolutely integrate with all these other amazing crushers in e-commerce. Okay. Hi, guys. Did you launch the updated Triple Pixel to accommodate for purchase upsells with apps like Aftersell, OCU? CS told us it was in the pipe and about 2 weeks out, 2 weeks ago. The infamous 2 weeks. Logan is the closest to the product. Any updates for our wonderful Miss Handa?
Yeah, I just need to make sure I understand what she means by accommodate, because like for example, Zipify one-click upsell, as long as the customer is redirected to the Shopify thank you page, like at the confirmation at the very end of the journey, there shouldn't be any problems there with tracking back to the original ad per se. And we do, if she's talking about like the actual value of the upsell being included in the total of the order, that is that is working as well. So we did have a small window of time where basically when the customer finished the original order and then went and added things via the upsell value was not being added to the pixel total. So that's updated and working as well. So the total value of the order should be there. But if I miss something as far as like accommodating, let me know. As long as the journey ends with the thank you page from Shopify, like the confirmation page, we should be good.
Fantastic. Wonderful question, Ashley. All right. Let's see. Okay, what else we got? Amazing. What else do you guys want to talk about? Twitter verification? What do you guys think about that? Huh?
Is Elon ruining it or not?
I am verified, baby.
Oh my gosh. How long do you think you're going to keep that $8 a month subscription?
To be fair, I had Twitter Blue way before.
Same.
Okay.
So I upgraded to the verification, but we'll wait for some more questions. Oh, it looks like Andrew has some heat coming for us. But one of the things, and I'll just pontificate right now until we get another question about Twitter, was that I thought it was brilliant for him to take it private. He absolutely insanely overpaid. But the challenge, so for people that don't know, when you're a private company, you basically don't have to tell anybody anything. Like obviously your board's going to care about stuff, but even then you really as long as everybody's happy. When you're a public company, you have to actually report every quarter on the company's earnings. You have to open the kimono. It's very, very invasive. And you start to get on a cadence of the Wall Street teat of making sure that you're hitting your quarterly numbers. So him taking it private, I thought was brilliant. Will give you kind of some headspace to actually innovate. The challenge is he didn't buy Twitter. He basically got it underwritten by a bunch of banks. And so he has $1 billion nut every year that he has to hit in just interest payments, which is essentially the same as having public market pressure. So I think that he, traded, it was the devil you know for the devil you don't know kind of thing. So I think it'll be interesting. And I always think it's fascinating that he's on 3, 4, 5 companies now. So they traded a half CEO for a quarter CEO, where it's that's a lot of epicness going on there. My man Richard, let's do it.
Oh, there we go. Sandra just put it in.
This kid, this guy, not even. He's amazing. Moving pyramids. Talk about moving questions to the question bank. I mean, that's the real question. How'd they do that? On the back
20-ton questions into the question bank.
20-ton questions, perfectly cut. Put paper in between them. Okay, cool. So this is from Mr. Silva. We had to zero out our shipping in Triple as it was calculating out an average per shipping order versus per unit. Each product we ship gets its own shipping label. Will we ever be able to calculate average order per unit versus order? Example, $10 per unit. If somebody bought 100 units, it would be $1,000 to ship, not $10,000. My current workaround is just to make a custom expense at the end of the month with total dollar shipping spent. So too long didn't read. You're doing it the best way possible, Richard, where you're going to be able to internalize. You can even move that to a weekly cadence. So when I was running an account on Triple, my client was very, very adamant on profit. And so without having the shipping in there, you can really not get a great profit tracker. And then he had a bunch of different SKUs, and so there's definitely some variation in shipping. So that average shipping cost was also, to your point, like not very helpful for him. So right now, this is the best way to do it. I know we're working on some imports and we're working on some integrations with 3PLs. I don't know how far that's gone, Logan, or maybe you can give some color, but the way you're thinking about it right now, Richard, is really smart, and that's exactly what I would recommend. But it's definitely not ideal. Ideally, we'd have some sort of integration in there. But right now, that is probably the best way to get your accurate profit tracking. Again, you can do it at a smaller cadence, like maybe weekly updates, like every Friday you close your books. But currently, we don't have any integrations with major 3PLs that would help solidify this. Do you know, or drop in the chat what you're actually using, and we can see where that maybe that integration might be coming soon. But I don't know any. Maybe Logan, you can give some more color in terms of, have we thought about any more integrations with shipping? Because we did do ShipStation for a little while, but then that API was pretty gnarly, and it wasn't really great. Oh, Sendle's pretty big. Maybe we should, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure where we are on the timeline because it's not my side of the product. But
right.
I was going to ask, like, would you ever suggest that if the shipping per unit was fairly static, would you ever suggest he update his COGS to reflect it?
No, never. It's a totally different cost vector.
But what if it cost $8? He said every single product he ships has its own shipping label. So couldn't you technically add that cost of shipping to the COGS?
Well, it's hard to disambiguate because I'd want to know what my COGS are, because what happens now if the COGS change, right? Or shipping changes. Like, you really need to keep your cost of goods sold and your shipping separate. They're just totally two different line items. So I see the logic behind it. I just would never recommend it. I would just do what he's doing now, because, for example, like if you wanted to do an analysis on your costs, right? And if your COGS and your shipping are integrated, it gets really crazy, versus if you have them separated, you're like, holy crap, why am I paying so much for shipping? I can see, like, hey, my shipping is really starting to take my shirt. I need to figure out better ways to ship it, because he also has a fragile product as well. So he has some other things going on there. But I would always keep those separate. So yeah. That's just me being negative, Nancy, but I think the way he's doing it right now would be the best approach to it. Ideally, we get a shipping import done, where we can add shipping at the order level, and then you can start to get into some really interesting analysis. But until then, you'd have to do it at that kind of time batch level. But ideally, you can export that 3PL spreadsheet by order number, and then we match up the order number shipping costs with the orders, and then you can start to get some really like interesting things like cost per order, things of that nature. But
yeah.
Ashley's coming back. Let's see what we got. What about adding a static shipping cost to the handling column? We have the same issue for profit tracking. Yeah, I guess it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I personally just rather have that book close, how Richard's doing it, where it's every week or every bi-weekly or every month, and then you can understand. We'll break down your custom expenses, and you can see how much you're actually spending in shipping. But definitely not the ideal situation, but ideal would be personally uploading a CSV and matching those orders. But you're still going to get the most out of it right now, the way Richard's handling it. So it's pretty clever. Nice. All right, folks, we have 9 more minutes. We're heading into the hot rounds. Throw us any other questions or anything of that nature, so we can make sure that you are well sussed up. I don't know if we're going to do one next week, just because everybody's going to be crazy. We'll probably end up punting it to the week after, for the Turkey Day and everything, and then the Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Let's see, what else we got here. We do.
Well, what's coming up? I guess other things that I'm trying to think of. I'm using filler time here. What's going on with our podcast network? What can people tune into to kind of keep up with the state of DTC and stuff like that right now?
Look at his hype man over here. Yeah, he slide you a little 20 after this.
Thanks.
So we do have a podcast network coming. Deets are still to be unveiled there. But right now we just recorded a really great ad spend actually right before this. That'll drop on Monday. ROAS won't start until Jan 1 again. So we're going to take a couple months off, or I guess a month and a half off, just to kind of retool. We're going to be doing it in a season, kind of up the production value, getting into kind of that NPR style. But I guess, yeah, this is a great question for all of you guys. Andrew, this is a A6000 with a Sony or a Sigma 30 millimeter lens with a 1.4 aperture. If you guys are hip to that, using a Camlink 4K. So it's a bit of a cannon to kill a mosquito in a way, but we're still working on the podcast studio behind me. So we can get that all sussed out, I'm over here slumming it around with this camera.
I'm using the native 720 HD that comes with my Mac. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, we can tell. Jokes. It's all jokes. I guess broader question to you guys would be, what podcasts would you want to see? Like, is there anything exciting around? So we're going to have some CPG podcasts. I think there's going to be a big retail boon in terms of 2023. I think people are really going to want a lot of retail content, understanding how to get into CPG stores, etc. So we have that. We're gonna have a true crime podcast, which is going to be kind of crazy. Possibly, maybe Richard. Maybe we do a sneaker podcast. Let's do it, Richard. So not everything is going to be totally around D2C. Shaq's going to have a podcast around agencies. So if you guys are a Nick Shackelford fan, I'm a big Nick fan, and he's going to be helping out agency stuff. And then we're also going to be unveiling a whole new content network, or essentially around education. So one of the things that we've heard from our users is that education is something that they want more of. And so, can I do a poll here? Oh, I can do a poll. Let's see if this works. Would you all do a triple certification?
What does that include, Rabah?
Oh, well, glad you asked. So let me pull up my notes here. So it would basically essentially be a 4-week course on essentially the first principles. So understanding your customer go-to-market strategies, how to construct your team, the anatomy of a transaction, so revenue, COGS, sales, shipping, margin, ROAS versus CPA buying strategies. And then every week, so it'd be 4 weeks of education. Every week you would do a 15-minute lab/presentation. And then the other 4 weeks would be, so the second week would be really focused on acquisition. So understanding how to use the pixel, how to optimize your ads, creative testing, naming conventions, channel mix, email marketing flows, campaigns, SMS campaigns, offer construction, landing page design, CRO, influencer and affiliate marketing, performance reporting, SEO content strategy, and organic. And then the third week would be on retention. So understanding LTVs using cohorts, 3 AOVs, SMS and email campaigns and flows for retention, what your ideal customer mix would be, how to provide the best customer support and measure that, product bundling, which we talked about, brand strategy, and then you'd have your 15-minute presentation for that. We're calling it a lab. And then the last week would be ultimately your preferred tech stack, how to plan your year, understanding peaks and valleys, and then you'd have your final presentation. And then so that would be essentially the 4-week course that you would go through. Oh, amazing. So this is also something that's really helpful, Richard, is so you guys want more bite size. You don't want Rabah rambles. You want straight to the point. The succinct Sonder is what they want, not the Rabah rambles. That's very, very helpful feedback. And then the other thing that we are also toying around with is, okay, cool. That's super helpful, Andrew. Is there any specific topics, or do you want to just kind of go topical? And then if not, and that's just kind of a random question, you guys don't have to answer now. But okay, so that's super helpful. So bite-sized content is definitely something that we've gotten a lot of. One of the challenges with the bite-sized content is that there's some topics that are fairly complex, and so we try and simplify them, but it's hard to simplify all the way down. But that's noted, and I hear you, and I think that there's something we can definitely do there to make sure that the topic or the videos are a little cleaner, a little faster, a little more succinct.
Probably
Uh,
truncate it into like subcategories, like the bigger
like
topics.
parts.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it. The other thing we got going, so we're going to have the Oscars of DTC, dubbed the Whaleys. That's going to be in the first weekend of February. So the DTC community will descend on Austin, Texas. Those tickets will go on sale fairly soon. That's going to be really fun. So it'll be 2 days of education, essentially. One night we're renting out an incredible barbecue joint here, and then the second night we have one of the nicest kind of conference rooms in. It's not even a conference room. That's sounds, it's like derogatory to it. It's just this beautiful ballroom that we're renting out to give the awards away. And then I forget what the categories are, but we have 6 categories. So you'll be able to nominate people and vote on them, and then we'll unveil the winners at the Whaleys. So that is definitely something that is going to be near and dear to my heart. I'm really excited for that. And then what else do we got? We're going to do a really, really massive event, probably in April, May, depending on, but kind of like a SaaStr style, where we're going to invite about like 1,000, 2,000 people to see how many people we can stuff into either Vegas, maybe Brooklyn, maybe Miami. Those are kind of the 3 front running cities right now. It's a lot of people, like 1,000 people is a lot of people. And so one of the things that we're going to do there, though, is going to be pretty cool. So there'll be agencies, there'll be brands, there will be partners, vendors. But one of the things we're going to do is we have a fairly heavy community in VC, a lot of connections in VC. And so we're going to do a bit of, actually, Mark Cuban's stores are actually on Triple Well. Also, shout out IU, alma mater. But we're going to do a kind of Shark Tank, if you will, no pun intended, of where people can pitch their products and see if they can get funding. So it should be a really fun show. That's pretty down the pipeline, though. But those are kind of the big moving parts here. Yeah.
Are you going to let Sandra and I announce one of the winners of the Whaleys?
You better.
I got to get my tux on and get up there like Michael Scott.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, well, absolutely. So we'll actually have the awards be like basically like the Oscars, where they'll be the people in that space will be presenting the award to the winners, kind of stuff. It's going to be really fun. The Whaleys has been something that has been hot on the topic for a while, and so just kind of making sure that it's really hard to throw events. So we had our Creative Palooza that was awesome, but there was about 120 people that came, which is sensational. But events are really hard. They're very, very difficult, especially when you're making sure that people are getting value from it. You have an education vector, you have a party vector, you have food. There's a lot that goes into it. So, but all you wonderful humans are worth it. So don't shed a tear for me. What else we got? We got 1 minute.
They weren't anyway, Rabba.
Yeah, I know they weren't. Okay. Oh, Matt, amazing. Right under the buzzer. Okay. More question. Brand owner here. Swamped with work and learning to hire help on the creative side so I can focus more on paid. Any recommendations on hiring in-house versus sourcing international? Ooh, what a good question. Let me throw this in the question bank. Logan, Sandra, Logan, you start, because did you guys do everything in-house? And then Sandra, I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, that's where the bias comes into play. I mean, I think we were trying to do it as cost effectively as possible, right? So we hired in-house, but the other thing I had someone close to me that was a really good creative, did photo and video editing, and had a really good eye. So it was just kind of easy that way. So him and I worked together. I will say that you can probably have a lot of success doing outsourcing as well. I just think that you might pay a premium for it and might have to do a lot of work in writing up the creative briefs you need, because you got to think you're going to logistically have to send product to them. It has to be enough lead time for this to work out for your marketing messaging and your website and your production launches. So that can just get hard. I think for us, we were doing it really fast. So like we'd get things from the sample room, and then it was like bing, bang, boom. And then the production hit the 3PL, and then we were all out the door. Right. So it depends on your lead times. It depends on like how cost effective you need it to be. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Sandra, where are you at?
Lots of bing, bang, booms. I like to. I kind of like the nail it then scale it philosophy. So for me, I just like to get things started and out the door and kind of iterate as cheaply as possible. And so I usually like to outsource or contractor initially. And then
Yep.
once I see how it can pay off more, long term, bigger, and really get after it, then that's when I like to go more full time and transition that way. But to Logan's point, if you have talented resources internally already that you can leverage, then it's the same principle. I would just start maybe them dedicating a portion of their time towards that, and then once you figure out what works, then really scale it and go all in.
Yeah, I love that. I think it really depends on what you need, and it's challenged, to be fair. And so, my 2 cents would be, don't go all in right off the bat. Have some sort of honeymoon period, and then when you do find somebody that works, then kind of figure out how to make sure the economics are there for you. But it's a challenge, man. It's a challenge, and I like to make smaller bets, more more small bets, or a lot of small bets until I find some winners, and then I kind of take the things off the. But it's hard. There's not really a great. I don't have a better answer than these two. I think it's very sage advice.
Yeah, from a brand owner perspective, though, like I'm not sure what scale you're at with your business and maybe how much room you have in your budget to hire like a marketing manager. But if you can get like that one person that can hang out and manage everything from paid media to agency relationships, I think that person could identify someone part-time to do the shoots for you, right? And the marketing manager gets all the goods in, writes what you need as far as content, and then go do that. And then I think as it scales up, hire internally if it's working out. Because like even my experience, I wasn't on the marketing team at the time, but that when I was at Chubby's, they always did a really good job of keeping it in house, and had content creators in house, did studio shoots in house, and then hired out when it was like a bigger, more formal thing.
Amazing, amazing. Oh, fantastic, Matt. I'm glad you got something out of that. But yeah, it's a challenge, and honestly, like Pound the Pavement, Narwhal Nation is another thing where you can ask how people have done it with certain firms and stuff like that. But creative can be a challenge, and having it's just is what it is. Amazing. All right, folks, that's it. That's another Whale webinar in the books. Thank you so much for joining. Definitely be sure to subscribe to Whale Mail if you're not. If you're not subscribed, just go to triplewhale.com/whalemail. Logan and Sandra are both on the Twitters. Go follow them. Go follow our Twitter account as well. And we really appreciate you guys. And if there's anything that we need to be doing better, any topics you want to talk about, anything of that nature, we're super open to feedback. This time is really yours. I think what we might end up doing as well is bringing on some guests to this with experts in the space, maybe like CRO, media buying, etc. And we can get some kind of hot takes and tactics and strategies to help you all make more monies for your company, your agency, or your people. So amazing. Thanks. Amazing questions. Thank you, Richard, Matt, Ashley, everyone. Andrew, this has been great. We didn't give away any swag. How should we give away swag? What's the there, Logan?
Oh man. First person to tweet a picture of Saunders sitting in his wall with that sweet this sweet Biggie Smalls picture behind him. You should send him something.
Amazing. So tweet at me with that picture, and then tag Triple Whale, and I will get you the run of the roost, and we'll get you guys swagged up. We really appreciate all of you guys taking this time out. And then if you couldn't make it, this will be available post-hoc. So if you did watch it then. And then also thank you for the feedback on the bite-sized content. That makes a lot of help in terms of as we kind of construct Triple A University and start to mold that to be where you guys want. Priscilla, because I love you, let's do it. Okay, one last question. Hi, we want to start using custom expenses. Is the export button in the custom expenses section for downloading the custom expenses you added? Logan, what's the deets there?
Yeah, exporting the custom expenses that you have there. I don't think we have anything right now where you can upload custom expenses the opposite way. I think everything has to be logged directly in Triple Whale.
Yeah, we don't have an import functionality yet, unfortunately. But I think FinHub kind of bridges that, where that more or less is the import option. So, yeah.
Amazing. All right, you wonderful humans. Thanks again so much. We really appreciate that. Everything that you do. Happy hunting. I think we are going to punt next week's whale webinar just because everybody's just going to be in it. Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So I hope you guys have an incredible Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody.
Bing, bang, boom.
Bang, bang, boom. Let's go. You need to sign off now, Sonder. He's killing you. He's killing you.
No, that was my little nod to Sonder because he likes all his bing, bang, booms.
Big gulps, eh?
Big gulps,
That's right.
fellas. All right. All right. Let's see everybody later.